around 240 miles to the south of the Arabian Peninsula, is a little-known archipelago that's one of the most biodiverse regions in the world. The largest island, called Socotra, is 82 miles in length and 31 miles across, and it's part of the Republic of Yemen. Because of its unique geography, it was cut off from the surrounding land masses many millions of years ago, and this has allowed its animal and plant life to evolve completely independently. It's on Socotra, for example, that you'll find the famous dragon's blood tree. As well as looking like an umbrella, it's known for producing a dark red sap. It, along with 300 other plant species on the island, are classified as endemic, which means they aren't naturally found anywhere else. And the same can be said for a large number of birds, reptiles such as skinks and chameleons, crabs, and spiders like the blue baboon tarantula. It is such a special place that the island was recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 2008, and the hope is that human development will be limited there in an attempt to protect its uniqueness for generations to come. Approximately 1,100 miles to the north of Queen Maud Land in Antarctica, 1,600 miles to the south-southwest of Africa, and 1,200 miles to the east of the South Sandwich Islands, Bouvet Island is often said to be the most remote island on the planet. Despite being deep within the South Atlantic Ocean, the volcanic island was claimed by Norway in 1927, and because no other closer nation had any interest in it, it was declared a dependency in 1930. Covering an area of about 19 square miles, it's a place that's coated by ice virtually all year round, so as a result, the only non-animal life that thrives there are several species of fungi. It is, however, home to large colonies of seals and a number of bird species, and this led to it being designated a protected nature reserve in 1971. The Maranhão state of northeastern Brazil is the 380,000-acre Lençóis Maranhenses National Park. During the dry season, this is a place covered in rolling sand dunes, but during the rainy season it transforms into an oasis as far as the eye can see. That's because the water that falls here becomes trapped in the depressions within the dunes, with nowhere to drain away to, and this creates a series of interconnected freshwater lagoons. As well as being incredible to look at, this phenomenon also sustains a rich ecosystem. Wolffish, for example, swim around the lagoons when they're full, and will burrow deep into the sand into a wet layer of mud where they lay dormant during the dry period, before traveling back to the surface again once the rains return. Countless birds, insects, and even mammalian species also travel to the area when the lagoons are present. And it's become such a popular site that around 60,000 tourists visit it each year. Within the park, there are two gigantic permanent oases too, called Queimada do Britos and Baixa Grande, and each of these cover an area of between 2,100 and 2,700 acres to provide year-round sanctuary for animal and plant life. The river runs from the Cervati Mountains in Italy through the Salento region before entering the Tyrrhenian Sea, and along this route creates a stunning landscape, particularly as it passes the town of Morigerati. In fact, the network of gorges and caves that have formed in the valley has led it to being designated a protected region as a World Wildlife Fund oasis, and the more you see of it, the clearer it becomes why this decision was made. With vegetation and countless species of animals relying on the river's water, it's a picturesque place that you could explore for weeks on end. The cave entrance leads to a vast underground network, and there are parts where the river even travels completely beneath the surface before re-emerging several miles further along. Throughout history, the clear water and vibrant surroundings have been the inspiration for many artists and writers, with the earliest mentions of it dating back to the earliest period of the Roman Empire. Its status as a protected space means that it'll remain this way for generations to come, and if you're ever in the region, it's an absolute must-see. Japan is made up of almost 7,000 islands, and there are hundreds that could probably lay claim to being extremely strange and unusual. One that's definitely up there, though, is Okunoshima Island, which is part of the city of Takehara and lies in the inland sea of Japan. It has quite a storied history and was originally covered with farmland until the Russo-Japanese War in the early 20th century, when 10 forts were built there as defensive measures. This began its military association, and after hearing about research being carried out around the world, it became home to Japan's first chemical weapons research center in 1927. At the time, it was kept secret because of the risk it breached international law, and it was there that Japanese forces produced an estimated 6 kilotons of mustard gas and tear gas, a lot of which would be used in China during the Second World War. The factory was closed following the war, with all remaining stockpiles destroyed, and parts now have been converted into a museum, with the rest becoming derelict. That's not the strangest thing about the island, though, because in an attempt to turn it back into parkland after the war, a number of rabbits were released. They've now bred to such unbelievable numbers that you can hardly go anywhere on the island without seeing one, and if they ever get a hint that you have food on you, you'll soon be surrounded by hundreds if not thousands of them.